My name is Adrienne Wern, and I'm a member of the Kunle Community Board. We are a peer support organization and run a warm line from 6 to 12, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. All adults can call for support and referrals to local and national resources. Our other groups are on hold due to COVID-19. Those interested in getting involved with our organization can like us on Facebook and sign up for emails at kunlecommunity@gmail.com, and Kunle is spelled Kunle. We also have a monthly meeting currently held on Zoom. If you're interested in attending, sign up for our emails. This celebration of the United Nations International Day of Peace is put on by Kunle Community with support from the Women's International League for Peace and Freedom in Solidarity with Campaign Nonviolence. The 2020 theme for the International Day of Peace is Shaping Peace Together. Many mental health issues are rooted in trauma. Violence often results in trauma. Promoting a nonviolent, safer world helps prevent trauma and provides a better environment in which people can heal from trauma. This event is a space for a diverse group of people to speak their truth and share their experiences, wisdom, joy, and sorrow in order to learn from each other and grow. In a time where people are more isolated due to COVID-19, it is even more important to take time for our community to connect via technology and support the continuing shaping of inner peace and world peace. Thank you to all the participants who have submitted videos and those doing the behind the scenes work to make this event happen.
My name is Roy King, and I'm really pleased to have been invited by the Kunle community to talk a bit on this International Day of Peace. It's an event that's close to my heart, and I'll first tell you a little bit about myself, and then, give a few reflections on, its potential meaning. So, again, my name is Roy King. I'm a retired psychiatry professor from Stanford. I was there for 29 years and then moved up to Humboldt County in 2015, and I practiced a little bit of psychiatry here. But I've always been interested in the confluence between spirituality and mental health. So it's just perfect. It's really perfect to be able to talk to you folks today. One of the things I wanted to explore for this year's International Day of Peace is a little bit about the language of peace and the subtle nuances that thinking about peace, meditating on peace can bring to us, can bring to our souls. So don't want to bore you folks, but I wanted to go into some of the words for peace in other languages. We get, a different perspective when we step outside of our culture and, try to get an understanding, historical or cultural, of certain ideas. And today we'll be talking about peace. So in ancient Greek, the word peace was Irene. Name Irene comes from Irene, meaning peace. And Irene comes from a verb iro, meaning to join or bond together that what has been separated. It's the opposite of division. It's a promotion of concord and harmony. And in fact, the goddess of peace, very dear to ancient Athenians, her name was Irene, and she held a cornucopia, a basket full of fruit in her hands, in a way symbolizing, I think, the joining together and the harmony that peace can bring. The second language or word for peace, which we all probably have heard many times, is shalom, or in Hebrew, or salam in Arabic. And again, that means peace, but it also has the uh, notion attached to it of harmony and wholeness and well-being and welfare, societal welfare. Shalom, is not only uh, peace but welfare and social harmony. So these two ideas, Irene, bringing together which has been separated, and shalom, peace, I think bear witness to some of the uh, thoughts that would be helpful for those in mental health, for those who are part of the uh, mental health community, whether as consumers or as providers. And that's the idea that mental health is complicated, and particularly when you think about the idea of peace, whether it's Hebrew or Greek ideas of peace and mental health. I was just pondering that, and it came to me the idea that there's both peace within, psychological wellness, inner harmony, which we all seek through therapy or medications or spiritual practices. And there's also peace without, societal wellness. So we have this duality between psychological and social wellness. And I think we, in mental health particularly, ignore the social consequences of the personal consequences of social events on the individual soul. For instance, the Black Lives Matter movement really lifts up the idea that the fear that's perhaps rampant in the African American community from encounters with law enforcement can really disrupt inner peace and harmony. So it's a joining together, joining of the inner and the outer of individuals in community. So that was sort of the reflection that I had, that there's peace within and peace without. And then I just wanted to end up with a little bit of thoughts about, how to achieve peace, inner peace, outer peace. The first thing that occurred to me on this International Day of Peace is one can achieve peace in the Greek sense, bringing together that which has been separated into harmony, through community, Kunle community, through the bonds that we experience in Humboldt County, as well as the more than human community, the community of nature, the trees, the ocean, the bluffs, and so on. In communion with nature, in communion with other people, we bring together a kind of external peace, at least for a period of time while we're experiencing those connections. So outer peace is through community and people and nature. Those are my thoughts today. And inner peace can be cultivated through inner work. I mean, there's peace within, we have parts of ourselves that have been separated from other parts of ourselves. And by achieving harmony through, in my favorite cases, would be like breathing techniques or meditation, yoga, or prayer, we can calm the disruption and the division that's within and bring, inner concord and harmony. So to close, let's celebrate International Day of Peace. Let's bring in harmony from the outside world. Let's bring in harmony within, at least for the moment, for this day. Recognize the beautiful value of peace and what it can do to uplift our lives and souls. Thank you.
Imagine world peace, we do. We think about it every day, without a doubt. It's time to get the soldiers out on every side. So many are dying. If everybody worked all day to free the world of hatred, war, and greediness, oh, what a world we really have. It's in our grasp. We hope this can happen. Peace on earth is all that we're asking for, so help us please. When this happens, can't you imagine how great this world will be? Imagine world peace, we do, and human rights and justice too. It can be done, it's something that we all can do. We'll work as one, so let's make it happen. So let's make it happen. So let's make it happen.
I'd like to read a few of my short poems, thank you. Stormy. A young tree flailed in a storm. Her branches shook in the wind, but at the core she was firm. The rain pelted her bare limbs, and her fingertips greened, though still icy and cold. The sun shone through the clouds, and rainbows appeared. The tree was glad, happy with all these changes. I loved you then, and I love you now for what you have taught me and for what you do not know. I care for you when the sun is uncaring, when winter tries to break you, when you are overburdened with snow. For what is life but sharing wisdom and caring for other living things? I know from you, though you are silent, how to love, but also how to fight against those things that cannot love. Second one, April Fool. I am a bastard at this juncture of my nefarious existence, and I come from a long line of evil characters, of Puritans making fake wampum to buy land, of Guy Fawkes and his gunpowder, of monks felling sacred oaks, of Swiss bankers making gold ingots with Nazi gold, and farmers killing every butterfly. But I'm going to be better than that. I'm going to be a fucking idealist, just to make them look bad, just to make them squirm in their graves if they could. I'm going to be a bastard's bastard and actually make this world a better place.
a sunny day during shelter-in-place. The sunshine bid me out to play. I walked the trail and chanced to meet a friend who cycles on the way. Behind a mask he called to greet. We chatted 6 feet in between, since now demands this novel bug that leaves us wanting, less serene, as once we would have shared a hug. Along the shore I shed my woes and wandered to the mighty sea, where waves did kiss my naked toes and brought me to a bended knee. While overhead the seabirds flew, in time I headed toward my place. Around the bend past seals I knew, renewed by nature's warm embrace. For this is where, beneath the sky, that truth divine itself reveals, behind the knowledge or the why, and masks undone cannot conceal.
Yes, Lord, 'cause of all the trouble I see. Yes, Lord, life's a losing gamble to man. Yes, Lord, everybody knows the moaning. Yes, Lord, every evening I've been moaning. Yes, Lord, I'm alone and crying the blue. Yes, Lord, I'm so tired of pain due. Yes, Lord, cares and woes that got me moaning. Yes, Lord, I'm a moaning, I'm a groaning, I'm trying to make it all by myself. But Jesus came into my life, and now I drink from his well. But in the morning I've been moaning. Yes, Lord, 'cause of all the trouble I see. Yes, Lord, life's a losing gamble to man. Yes, Lord, everybody knows I'm moaning. Yes, Lord, and in the evening I've been moaning. Yes, Lord, I'm so tired of pain too. Yes, Lord, and I'm so tired of singing the blues. Yes, Lord, the cares and woes that got me moaning. Yes, Lord, and I'm a moaning, I'm a groaning, I'm trying to make it all by myself. But Jesus came into my life, now I drink from his well. But in the morning I've been moaning. Yes, Lord, 'cause of all the trouble I see. Yes, Lord, life's a losing gamble to man. Yes, Lord, everybody knows I'm moaning. Yes, Lord, cares and woes that got me moaning. Yes, Lord, everybody knows I'm moaning. Yes, Lord, cares and woes that got me moaning. Yes, Lord, cares and woes that got me moaning. Yes, Lord, cares and woes that got me moaning.
This is titled, You Think the White Way is the Right Way. You think the white way is the right way? Well, you're wrong. It's because you've been Eurocated and lied to, and history has been whitewashed. Columbus did not discover America. He didn't even step one foot on our soil. And your Eurocation didn't teach you that the people he did come across, his soldiers raped all the women and young girls, and Columbus kidnapped them and took them back to Spain as a gift to the Queen, who enslaved them for the rest of their lives. How about you leave the door to your house open, or the keys in your car, or your ATM card with a PIN number written on it, and let someone discover your bank account? How does that feel? Your Eurocation doesn't tell you that indigenous peoples are supposedly a sovereign nation, but somehow we fall under federal jurisdiction. Living on the res means living without access to clean water, no jobs, no electricity, no housing, but it also means living with widespread addiction, alcoholism, and domestic violence. We celebrate Independence Day every July 4th. Independence for who? I'll tell you. white men. Those white men who wrote the Constitution. And in that Constitution, I'm only considered 3/5 of a person. Where's the other 2/5 of me? I'll let you in on a little secret. I'm whole. More than whole. Complete. A queen, an empress who is speaking my truth. You think the white way is the right way? Well, I'm telling you that you were whitewashed. You were told that the white way is the norm by which society works. The white way ain't the right way. In your Eurocation, you don't learn the truth about slavery. The real truth. Things like how famous, or should I say infamous, doctors made medical breakthroughs by operating on female slaves without anesthesia because Negroes don't feel pain. Or how now tourists of old plantations have the caucasity to complain about how the tour made them too sad. Well, try living it, Karen. Your Eurocation doesn't teach you the truth about immigrants. You're told, oh, immigrants take our jobs. No, immigrants do jobs that no true American would never stoop so low to do. Immigrants bust their asses, and because they do, we only have to pay $2 for a head of lettuce. You, and you, and you, and you. Do you still think the white way is the right way? Or is the right way to have compassion for all people? Or is the right way to educate yourself? Find out where you were lied to during your Eurocation. Or is the right way to call people out when you see them doing something wrong or discriminatory towards a person of color? It's time all of you, with your white privilege, open your fucking eyes, educate yourself, and figure it out. The white way cannot be the right way until racial profiling, cops killing our young black brothers, people of color being treated like a lesser than, women making a lesser wage than a man for doing the exact same job, sex work isn't considered real work, people of color receiving 7 to 15 times the prison sentence than a white for committing the exact same crime, our native sisters are missing and or murdered and the police don't even investigate. Being addicted to drugs in the ghetto is a crime, but if you're white, it's a disease in need of treatment. Stops. The white way will end when those with white privilege realize they have white privilege, admit they have white privilege, put an end to white privilege. If you still think the white way is the right way, then I feel for you, because the white way ain't the right way.
Perpetual overload. You are afraid. You see terrors in the night. You see demons in your mind. You see dangers all around you. So you reach for help. Cry for relief. Take drugs to ease the pain and fall apart. Perpetual overload. You're angry. You recall your childhood. You recall your abuse. You recall your trauma. So you busy yourself trying to help others, lashing out at imagined threats, and fall apart. Perpetual overload. You're wounded. You can't deal with others. You can't deal with yourself. You can't deal with life. So you complain endlessly, cry and moan and scream. Project your feelings onto others and fall apart. Perpetual overload. Stop it.
This is the third poem. The dreams from my past are dying a hard breath. The lovely houseboat with an eave like a Swiss chalet, once at sea in my inner oceans, is stuck in a bog, rotting. My gypsy dad and his magical dog has taken off for distant lands, and I suffer now like the fish I once caught and ate. Endless flowery fields are now drenched by vast, unyielding thunderheads. My huckleberry straw hat flies off in the wind. There I find a graveyard of dreams that I no longer believe in, even when I sleep. Instead, I listen to the rain and the morning dove's soft boo-hoo.
Untitled. Here I go. Putting one foot in front of the other. 1 foot, 2 foot, step by step. 1 foot, 2 foot. Why? 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 When nobody gives one shit for me. No one cares if I take one breath in or out or in again. I cry out to the universe, why have you forsaken me? Out of the depths of my heart I cried, but nothing heard me. No spirit answers. Oh, why do you not answer? Why do you not hear? Why do they leave me to wander alone without comfort? All I can do is ask myself, why another step? Why another breath? Why? Why?
to lead, follow, or just get out the way. Cause what we talking about is building us a brand new day. Ain't got no time for your confusion or resistance to change. Ain't got no need for your permission cause your power is waned. But now is the time for the rise of people power. It's been coming for a while, but it's finally reached the hour. Rise of the indigenous, oppressed and colonized, to take back what's been stolen, cause we are woke and wise.
See, night goes night. The low cello of a motor sounds as an auto slowly accelerates and fades off into the dark. I count the beads on my wrist. For each bead, I think of your cares and mine, unraveling negativity. Time is only a fiction. What happened yesterday is here today. That is why we have to change.
Being. Look. Just look. Look at what is and what isn't. Look with your eyes and ears and nose and mouth and skin, and with that part of yourself for which you have no name. Forget. Just forget. Forget what you believe and what you don't believe. Forget what you've seen and heard and smelled and tasted and touched, and what you've known for which you have no name. Notice. Just notice. Notice what is and the emptiness around it. Notice with your mind and heart and gut and bones and breath, and with that awareness for which you have no name. Rest. Just rest. Rest in what is always there and what is constantly arising. Rest your thoughts and feelings and emotions and seeking and stories and that restlessness for which you have no name. Let go. Just let go. Let go of what holds you and what you hold. Let go of the past and the future and relationships and obligations and who you are and that part of what you were for which you have no name. Be. Just be. Be as you are, not as you aren't. Be without effort and dreams and beliefs and knowing help, and without everything for which you have no name.
Okay. Monster and Rain Dragon. I am a light unto myself, a vision of beauty behind weeping eyes, spiked horns, and twisted grin. An imaginary banquet unfolds before me, born of exile. Grotesque delights all, malformed, but the presentation so sublime. Outside the rain roars from one end to another of my desolate street. I wait, hoping to glimpse at your face coming out of the rain. This aching I cannot live without. It is a necessary dragon. Not to feel this pain would be death.
Without thinking. See what's ahead of you. See what's behind. See where it's coming from, there in your mind. Look now without your thoughts. Look without your fear. Look at what's actually there. Notice what's here. See who you are right now. See who you've been. See what is coming up. Be still, my friend. Look now without the frame. Look without the dreams. Look now more carefully. It's not what it seems. See what you're making up. See what you do. See what you're adding on. Notice the who. Look now without a need. Look without a care. Look here and nowhere else. Be free if you dare. Take me Cross the bridge, take me along with thee. Take me to the riverbank by an old willow tree. Take me above the sky, take me below the sea. Take me beyond this world, come wander with me. I am your own true love. I am joyfully. I am the one you seek, still hope to be. I am the morning light. I am the evening star. You are the resting place. It's not very far. Come with me o'er the hills. Come with me by the shore. Come with me hand in hand, part never more. Go now and live your life. Go now and be free. Go now and know thyself, till at last you see. Till at last you see.
From this country we see justice leaving, for the aging and poor in our land. For the laws now are changing to profit the rich and the big businessman. Come and stand up for what you believe in. Blast business and Congress out of bed. The sick should have care, the homeless shelter, and hungry receive daily bread. Now this is our hope for our future. May we come to our senses again. The voice of the grannies is calling to help heal a country in pain. Come and stand up for what you believe in. Sing it out with a loud raging sound. Bring democracy back to our country. Let reason and caring abound. Yes, let reason and caring abound.
Hello, this is Kate Hitt of Many Names Press. Behind me you can see some of my printed matter that I make. I have a little printing press back there. And for 15 years I drove a school bus here, there. Now I live in Humboldt, but I have some poems that I wrote around it, my experience, and it was a very agricultural area, and it was a very diverse area. There were wealthy areas that I drove through, and I drove about 250 kids a day in my big bus. And so I'm just going to tell you a little bit about how I started. I thought when I was learning how to drive a double clutch 36-foot bus that I really couldn't do it. It was so hard. The gears were grinding all the time. And I had to spend maybe 100 hours learning how to just drive the bus. And then I was trained to work with kids a little bit. So then on the first day of school, I watched the kids at the high school just, being kids, like throwing their gum on the sidewalk. And I thought, wow, what am I doing here? I don't have kids. Is it going to be okay? I was scared to death, really. And I used to drive maybe to a dozen different schools every day, morning and afternoon, getting up at 4 and sometimes not getting home until 7 at night. And anyway, I left it in a few years ago and retired. And I feel really bad for the drivers right now because they're probably not working. Or if they are, it's probably really hazardous, even more hazardous and unpredictable as it got when, we got our new president. So things have just probably deteriorated around the number of accidents and things like that. But anyway, I want to dedicate these poems to the drivers of the Paro Valley Unified School District. Really, really great group of people, very, very skilled at what they do. Thank you.
Voter. Voting isn't about you. It's about us. Consideration for what's best for everybody. Voting isn't about what you feel. It's about what you've learned. Standing up, speaking out, listening to each other. Voting isn't about fighting. It's about choosing an alternative to war, an alternative to anger, an alternative to hate. What do you want?
Something About Them, Individual. A poem by Greg Downing. We are, each of us, individual points of being, allowed consciousness of the feel of it, the miracle of it, decided by some, its truth never taken for granted, supersedes, for them accepted, recognized, truths of relationship between men en masse. And although political philosophy may in its way mimic the fruit of love of life, for these ones there is no expectation or even belief in group truth's ability to make possible for those whose lives are hardship, them, different in such a way that contemplation on existing becomes possible for them, as an exercise in their inner world expansion instead of rumination on the reason of being to suffer. The voicing of those hopes part of empathetic recognition of being singular experience gifted individually. Its value beyond comprehension is the truth contrasted with the reality lived by those whose worth according to men is less, person to person, group to group, not which side of the aisle you may fit on, to be someone willing to speak to the injustice of such a plight as life defines you through man's accepted understandings as liberal in your political philosophy. For these ones there is no party, no policy, no expectation, no belief in rulers' willingness, no solution to what they see and may speak of passionately, only recognition of the miracle of existence and it for each of us individually given and for only so long. That true alongside clear recognition of the incredible number over man's lifetime of those having experienced their gifting of life as torture, rape, enslavement, need of every humankind unmet for the reason of other men's decision. It is from here words are spoken, passion lives from here. It is from here. Somehow seen past all that is dark of the history of man, all current life, dark in its reason for allowing, dark in its we will no longer allow. All that is personal, dark experience somehow seen past understanding that each heart's beats are numbered and understanding that if there are any able to live life as freedom from need, it's life possible. Possible, but for whole lifetimes for too many, it is only insecurity and need, horror and terror. Can it be true? Everyone from one side of the aisle cares that this is so. Is it possible that everyone on the aisle's other side looks past this, hardened? Life, a moment, from first breath taken smack to last the tempting inhalation. A moment, individually, only, ever, each, a moment, individually, only, ever, each. Understanding this as true, caring that it is, hearts open to the sound of tears shed long ago, hearing those flowing, that about these ones it is something their own, something about them, individual.
Vote, vote, vote for change, a difference we can make. Verily, 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 democracy's at stake. Vote, 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 and hope into all the news. Warily, 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 warily lies our mind abuse. Vote, vote, vote the truth, know each promised word. Merrily, 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 let our voice be heard. Vote, vote, vote for peace, a difference we can make. For peace, a difference we can make. Verily, 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 democracy's at stake. Democracy's at stake.
Oh, freedom. Oh, freedom. Oh, freedom over me. And before I'd be a slave, I'd be buried in my grave and go home to my Lord and be free. And there be no more wailing, no, 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 oh, no more wailing, no, no more wailing over me. And before I be a slave, I'll be buried in my grave and go home to my Lord and be free. Oh, and be free. Oh, and be free. Oh, yes, children, be free. And be free. And no more crying. No, no, no. No more crying. No more crying. No more crying over me. No, no. Because before I be a slave, I'll be buried in my grave and go home to my Lord and be free. Oh, and be free. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Way oh do do way oh do way. Oh yeah do do le oh do do de do do de do de oh le oh do be free, oh, free, I said before I be a slave, I'll be buried in my grave and go home to my Lord and be free and go home to my Lord and be
The title of this poem is Look at Me, Look at Me, Look at You. When you look at me, you see my hijabi. So I must be a Muslim terrorist. When you look at me, you see my knee-length locks. So I must be a sit-around all-day lazy pot smoker. When you look at me, you see the unshaven legs, the unshaven armpits, the no makeup. So I must be a feminazi. When you look at me, you see my dark skin. So I must be an immigrant or from the ghetto and definitely not educated. When I look at me, I see a hijabi that reminds me to always walk humbly. When I look at me, I see knee-length locks that are roots connecting me to everything in the universe. When I look at me, I see a sensual body unaltered to fulfill the media's ideas of what beauty is. When I look at me, I see caramel skin that my ancestors, indigenous peoples, slaves, Mexican immigrants, mixed together and created what is me. And by the way, I have a college degree. When I look at you, I see a perfect spiritual being having a human experience who is worthy of all the compassion and wonder that life can bring. When I look at you, I see a broken soul, and instantly I am overwhelmed with a blinding love, and I want nothing more than to wrap my arms around you and have you cry all of your pain, hurt, heartache onto my shoulders. Maybe if this was how all of us looked at each other, how we all loved each other, we could change the world.
Yemen by Rachel Jacobs. There are no old men here, only children, hunched like toads under clay pots. There are no old women here, only children, fists in mouth, navels turned inside out, wide eyes focused on timid light scattered through empty doorways, waiting for a retreat, each step a compromise. Black spider sleep in white acrobatic swings, pasted across new corners. There are no children here, only satellite soldiers.
Oh, wayfaring stranger, I'm traveling through this world below. There is no sickness, no toil or danger in that bright land to which I go. I'm going there to see my Father I'm just a going home. I know dark clouds are gathered over me. I know my pathways, oh, it's rough and steep. But there's a golden valley stretched before me, where weary eyes no more shall weep. I'm going there to see my mother. She said she'd be there when I come. I'm just a going over Jordan. I'm just a going over home. Hey there. This is just one poem. It's pretty long, so I wanted to give it its own picture. This is the Tuttle Mansion and my school bus, and it's in Watsonville, and that's where this took place. It's called The Neuroscience of Time and Memory. One afternoon, sitting in traffic, a tadpole of a first grader exclaims that she loves movies like Chucky. We often talk, as she is the last rider off, bust miles from her school in freedom to Paro. Chuck E. Cheese, I say? Not really listening, waiting for the light. No, she replies confidently. Chucky, the doll. Did you ever see it? I think, you are too young to watch movies like that. I tell her, no, I hate horror movies. As she fell silent, I felt a twinge of regret. Was it wrong of me to define horror as hateful? Would it make her fearful if she wasn't before? My first grader told me her mother had disappeared a year ago. She said this simply, with a sadness of loss only somebody like me could know. I had a strict and censoring parent impose his fear from his own losses on me. He turned violent if I asked him about touchy subjects, most especially about my mother, who died of cancer before I could go to school. I had left the East Coast after college looking for whatever knowledge my father had deprived me of. I became a follower of truth, an artisan crafter of answers that would burst my world open to reveal its brilliance, fully shaped. Perhaps the child's mother went back to Mexico or died, but nevertheless her child was left behind in the care of a kind father who came to pick up his daughter every day with a bag of bread for her to eat on the walk home. Horror movies at such an early age imposed a tangible fear, intangible sense of fear, I suppose, one a little girl could deal with, unlike the disappointment of never ever seeing her mother again.
A Depiction of Pain by Rachel Jacobs. Sisyphus, whose task in the underworld was to roll a huge stone up to a hilltop, and when the stone was well nigh gained, the rock, repulsed by some sudden force, rushed again headlong down to the plain. Again he toiled at it, while the sweat bathe his weary limbs, but all to no effect. From Bullfinch's mythology. Sisyphus, avaricious king of Corinth, son of Aeolus, keeper of the winds, weariness attends you like a hanged man, sentenced by Jove to tedious perdition, shriven by sprites, condemned with every breath to incessant task. You will gain manure crest, then be repulsed by hidden hands. It will not matter how hard you push, the stone will plunge onto the plain. You will watch it roll until it stops, then brace your back and begin again. Sisyphus, like you, I stand condemned to roll all my passion and all my pain into one misshapen bowl, and heave it up days long, long hill, like the goblin that steals your stone. Pain defines my bounds. You cannot venture beyond the hill. You cannot stride the plain. I rise within sight of the smallest peak, then fall and fall and rise again.
Hi, this is Kate Hitt, and I'm going to read a few of the shorter poems that are from driving this big school bus. And I'll start with the youngest kids first, and I'll move my way up through some other pictures and also some longer poems. So here you go. This one's called The Kinder Bus. Is it fear, exhaustion, overstimulation, or just sheer exuberance that makes the little people scream and squiggle in their seats, lean over, leap up to tap each other on the top of their heads while the bus is jostling them along a country road so full of potholes and creeped up asphalt? They're like those toy dogs with swaying necks you see in the back of the geriatric cars, bouncing heads going, yes, 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 see, no, no, no. Only these small, happy eyes full of wonder gaze back lovingly through the mirror, saying, everything you do is all right, bus driver. You can do it. We believe in you, unquestioningly. They drop down the stairwell, untied shoelaces flipping around, miraculously airborne. Tiny humans empty the bus, the invisible glitter of their chatter still settling over the green vinyl seats. This one's called A Funny Bantering. My brave and valiant kindergarteners in the big yellow bus on the way to school have left their Spanish words at home, exercise their English, chatter softly. Two little girls sitting behind me are listening to the pop radio playing. One says, I know this song for 6 years. And the other one says, you weren't ever born yet. This one's called School Bus Drivers Assign Seats. On the full and very noisy bus, young blonde-haired Jake goes to sit down in the way back because it is cool. It's a cool thing to do. I move him to the front next to another first grader named Amir, a boy who is an immigrant, a refugee from the Middle East. The boy doesn't speak English, but he likes to tease the other kids. I see Amir in my rear view mirror bonk the little girls in front of him on the head with his glasses case. Jake grimaces and contracts his shoulders and hunches over into the aisle, ready to bolt. I look up, yell over the din, my hands clutching the wheel. Jake, be nice. He's a nice boy. He doesn't speak our language, so be extra nice. A second later, I look up again, and Jake is playing with Amir, smiling and shyly talking in plain, kind English, gesturing with his dancing eyes. Hello there. I'm back with another bus poem. This one is called At the End of a Very Long Week Driving. Pacific winds stooping the pine sentinels along the narrow road between the vast earthen fields leading down to the ocean off San Andreas. The bright yellow school bus rumbles up to a potholed welcome home for the three children, a stately welcome home for the children. Latino youngsters, 2 brothers and a sister, leave behind 50 others, leap off the packed school bus into the flying dust and run to their pieced together shack, a hodgepodge of loose siding and punky decay set in a broccoli field. So close to the state beach you can hear the surf, the coastline with curling rows of waves far below, and rows of hoed vegetables and dirt. A 6th grade boy with a handsome face, another child of migrant parents, moves to a seat near me and watches them out the window. After the students go inside the beaten door, he says as I drive the bus away, "They're poor. Their house is rotten." I say, "That's not a very nice thing to say." And he says, "But it's true." I wonder, how do I counter that? I remember the boy that was older, he wore a silver cross. I explain, what matters is I know there's love in that household. That's what matters. He's quiet for a moment, holding a thought in the brow of his ship. Well, then why do they call it a house hole? Hello there. Kind of a big mirror, but that's a strawberry field in the background. So I drove a lot of these Renaissance high school kids that didn't fit in anywhere else, and I loved them. They were crazy, but they're really fun and different. This one's called Gender. Sorry. In the barley-lit dawn, I drove the bus up to some tranquil Latino teens standing in the post-rain drizzle, where a clump of grown boys in black hoodies, colorfully dressed girls in heavy makeup would first board the bus. She who always waited last and away from the others was a serious girl in a cobalt blue button-down shirt under a black leather jacket with a black beanie cocked to one side over a very black short hair. I looked out the door, saw the girl behind the boys, and said, "Ladies first." The black herd slid back, moved away to let her through, but she looked at me and began to protest. Suddenly aware of feeling guilt, wanting to be free, I corrected myself and tried again. "Women first." Jumping to the first step, she spoke softly to me, without hesitation, and in a girl's voice, "I'm not a girl," before quickly walking to the back of the bus to sit. We reached the alternative high school. I stepped out and stood to the side to wait and said, "Hey, I'm sorry. I don't always get gender, but I am a lesbian, so I like to try to get it right." With that, the eyes lit up and smiled a white row of teeth. The shoulders went down in relief. The young person exclaimed, "Hey, it's okay. I like to play it gender neutral." "Well then, have a good Thanksgiving." I had to shout that last bit to the youngster, practically dancing into the school of misfits. "You too, bus driver, you too."
Sensitive from birth to what doesn't ring true spiritually, unable to accept this as reality. Some of us are bound alternately to those we love in society's acceptance and our need to belong, and then our need to be solidly a self within. What is truth of us, spiritual and social, never finding their way to melding in the way of others? We are ill to the world and lost inside ourselves in search of peace of mind. Our illness, inability to breathe truth within ourselves as multiplicity and contradiction, inherent and as it should be. It is this they do, the normal, those surrounding, mocking and pitying, watching, sometimes loving, unable to understand. Accept without seeming serious questioning injustice as justice, freedom as bondage. Those like me, we are alternatively alive under the weight of the impossibility of the having of truth and lives alongside as the underlying scaffolding upon which the interaction between man and man can rest, and between man and himself can rest, while watching it be and hiding in need of a truth untrue, it seems, in the world outside us, that allows each of us ourselves. Can what is be as it's meant all around us in its carnage, truth, done in the name of the most sacred words to man? It is this underlying that inner world atmosphere and its outer world manifestation seen in me, called mental illness by those who recognize life accurately. The spirit of one in need of love to not mean also injury and abuse and oppression. To not have to accept continually at that place within, it is true. Since some do enough do to make it part of my experience of life, my eyes being open. Too much, for some reason again, life and its experience surrounding me too much. I again begin the plummeting through the floor for a time solid on which I stand. Opening up, I fall, my world again, all that is darkness. They look to me and speak of me and define it as despair for no reason clear. Brain chemistry gone awry. Unable to understand, mourning existence as it is. Thank you. Thank you.
This is a poem by Greg Downing. It's one of the first poems he wrote to his wife, Heather Williams, at the beginning of a 21-year relationship. It's entitled Golden Moments. And my name is Martha Hart. Sometimes when I look into your eyes, I can hear your tears as they drop inside you. And all I can think of while my heart breaks is a way to bring back that smile back. To your eye, a sadness so deep should never allowed to be. It shouldn't be allowed to be. Sometimes, with the help of golden moments God places in our path, I can do that little thing that is the one right thing, and through your eyes, I can see your heart fill up with joy. In those moments, I am what God made me to be for you. And as I hold you in my arms, the both of us laughing like children, I so love life. I so love life. Thank you.
Hi there, bus driver back. Those are apple crates in the back of me. I lived on a 20-acre apple farm, organic, all kinds of really wonderful old apples. And anyway, I have great fondness for apples, and they tore them all out to plant strawberries. Shameful, you know, but the Mexicans used to come once a year, and now they have to live in Santa Cruz County and Monterey because there are 3 growing seasons for strawberries and only 1 growing season for apples. So it's changed the whole demographics of the Mexican immigrants and migrant farm workers. So one day, when they had that really big earthquake in Japan, and we were expecting a tidal wave in Santa Cruz Harbor, somebody on the Mexican radio just kind of went crazy and said, everybody flee, everybody's got to get away. So that's what this poem is about, as well as other earthquakes and things like that. It's called Stone Certain. Today is the day, the Mexicans told me. Hardly anyone was riding the usually packed bus. That by 4 p.m. the world will end. The earth will move. Magma seep. Rock and friction will free fall. Sand will separate, uplift in rifts. As the tsunami arrives, we will all fall down. Most of the kids skipped school this morning because their families drove them up to the summit for safety. So I am told by a wise 9-year-old who stayed. I thought, what a great excuse to play hooky. When I was growing up back east, that old base, solid plates of bedrock never shook bad enough to move. Only once I felt it slightly, while up with the bats on the 9th floor of the university library during a respite in the smoking den from shelving books. It registered less than 3 on the Richter scale. Within a few years, after moving behind the Iron Curtain in the early 80s, the lion outside my bedroom window roared at 2 in the morning, a resounding 7.0, resulting in a kind of consciousness smudging. Recently, the frackers spread a 4.5 up the spine of the Appalachians. Towns of dicky brick and riverbed stone, mortared with Portland cement, shattered as glass and porcelain, crushed, and one could envisage a mainline fault, a zigzag crack in the earth, 400 miles long from the Carolinas to New York, jolting the Easterners into being Californians. Some will freebase fake auguries, while the salt of the earth others, like me, will get their act together before it's too late. Bye.
Even if they clip my wings, I can still fly. Even though I'm sheltered in place, here inside I can still fly. I can still fly. Even if they clip my wings, I can still fly. Even though I'm sheltered in place, here inside I can still fly. I can still fly. Let me tell you something. I don't get around these days, these challenging times. But I know my freedom comes from someplace deep inside. I can still fly. Okay, help me out this time. Even if they clip my wings, I can still fly. Even though I'm sheltered in place, here inside I can still fly. Oh, I can still fly. Even if they clip my wings, I can still fly. Even though I'm sheltered in place, here inside I can still fly. Oh, I can still fly. Now I don't get around these days, these challenging times. But I know my freedom comes from someplace deep inside, and I can still fly. I am like a bird soaring in the sky, just like Maya Angelou, still I rise. I am like a bird soaring through the sky, just like Maya Angelou, still I rise. Even if they clip my wings, I can still fly. Even though I'm sheltered in place, here inside I can still fly. I can still fly. Now let me tell you something. I ain't getting around in much of these challenging times, but I know my freedom comes from someplace deep inside. I said I know my freedom comes from someplace deep inside. I said I know my freedom comes from someplace deep inside. I can still fly. Fly, 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 fly. I can still fly.
COVID-19 changed our lives, changed our lives. We're all in this together, we're all in this together. Stop the spread, wear your mask. Who are the essential workers? Immigrants, POC, forced to keep on working, need to feed their families. Help them, please. Help them, please. Essential workers need protection. Get them all of the gear they need. We thank them for their work, and let's not make it harder. Wear your mask, stop the spread. Healthcare based on your employment is not fair. It makes no sense. I what to do, how to choose. Increase funding for healthcare, for healthcare. Epidemics happen, be prepared, be prepared. Stop the spread, wear your mask.
Oh, so I took a lot of photos while I was driving around. I had a really good time doing that. So this particular poem is pretty interesting for the stark contrast, but I only included the first half as the picture. I mean, it's related to the picture, but I think you get it. All right, this one's called Valentine's Day. In the morning at my school bus, by the fields where the migrant parents work, where a diminutive abuelita and her even tinier granddaughter, she dressed to the nines in white tights, shiny red shoes, rippled crinoline parasol skirt, pressed white cotton blouse with puffy short sleeves, suspenders under a needlepoint vest. I greet the quiet child gracefully climbing the steps onto the school bus, carrying a grass basket full of pink and red roses, with bundles of hearts over her forearm. She sits in the first seat and smiles at me sweetly, her tiny feet dangling off the vinyl above the floor. Part 2. In the afternoon, I drive to another grade school to pick up and take home the affluent kids, all sugar drunk on lollipops, candies, and chocolate. They charge around the playground, circling like discus throwers, hurling their backpacks, tilting and waving their windmill arms, grabbing at each other's disheveled clothes. Their eyes rolling in their heads, they fly onto the bus. Halfway to their upscale suburban homes, I watch in the rearview mirror as a few come crashing down. They languish, spread across the seats, while most kids are obliviously oblivious, ignoring my demands to sit, to stop hitting, to stop screaming.
Once upon a time, on this sheltered Easter morn, many of us are left forlorn. The days gone by were full of life, perhaps in church, not lonely strife. Then as we grew and formed a brood, we shared a table full of food, with friends and others, family, and filled the day with jubilee. But now we find a leaner day, no group to gather as we pray, nor children laughing in a park to hunt for Easter eggs with spark. The time is spent with TV, books, each one of us in our own nooks. The one thing that alone I've found, compassion for the prison bound, as well my gay friends, brethren, who in the past had to contend with unknown illness once revealed, a retrovirus also killed. Untold men and women too, brave healthcare staff worked long days through, until a test was found, and then, in time the medicine did mend. Like Lazarus they rose to join their loved ones, some became employed. On thinking back, we shed our tears for what to us were endless years. So let us hope upon this day, as doctors and the carers say. We must hold on, do what we can, and let the light shine whilst the ban that keeps us from our friends today, to trust a cure be found some way. And in the meantime, stay steadfast Against this new threat we must last, to frolic in the fields once more, where little children we adore can run and play as they should do, for this is all we ask of you.
1, 2, 1, 2. I got peace in the valley, in the valley, in the valley. Oh Lord, in the valley. I say, Lord, I pray. I got peace in the valley, in the valley, in the valley. My Lord, in the valley, I pray. Lord, I pray. No more sadness, no more sadness, no more sorrow, no more sorrow, no more trouble, no more trouble. I pray, Lord, I pray. 'Cause I got peace in the valley. Oh Lord, someday I got peace in the valley, in the valley, in the valley, in the valley. Someday I got peace in the valley, in the valley, in the valley. Lord, I pray. No more sadness, no more troubles, no more sorrows. I say I got peace, peace in the valley. So Lord, someday I got peace in the valley. Oh my Lord, I pray. I got peace, peace, peace in the valley. My Lord, I pray. No more sorrows, no more sadness, no more troubles. I pray. I said I got peace in the valley, my Lord. Lord, someday. Peace in the valley, my Lord. Someday I've got peace in the valley. Peace in the valley, Lord, I pray. I got peace in the valley, my Lord, I pray. There be no more sorrow, no more sadness, no more sorrow, no more trouble. I pray. I got peace in the valley. Oh Lord, someday I got peace. I got peace in the valley. I got peace in the valley. I got peace in that valley. I got peace in the valley. I got peace in the valley. Oh Lord, someday.
When we make peace instead of war, when we make peace instead of war, oh how I want to be in that number. When we make peace instead of war, when all the world has human rights, when all the world has human rights, oh how I want to be in that number. When all the world has human rights, when justice rules instead of force,
closing, I'd like to wish everyone who participated and who's watching peace, and to fling that far and wide to the entire world. So hopefully we will all be at peace. And I'd like to close with this song. May all beings be well. May all beings be happy. Peace, peace, peace.